Well, Lord knows she's not going to stay this clean, but the important thing is that the de-icing compound that they use on the road, as along with all the salt and road grime of the winter, is off. For now, that stuff will just destroy your truck, so we get it off every chance we get. But she looks good. Gonna go burn a few minutes here and just wait around, and then head out here in a little bit to Albemarle, North Carolina, to go pick up another press. This one will be about 12 feet wide and 66,000 pounds. So we'll see you later.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Good evening from Albemarle, North Carolina. It's Tuesday afternoon, probably about 4 o'clock. We're sitting here at an abandoned factory of some sort that is being broken down, and the pieces inside are being sent elsewhere to other purchasers or to be destroyed, or I don't know. We are picking up another steel press. This one will be 11 foot 10 inches wide, 7 feet and a few change tall, and it will be 66,000 pounds. So kind of a baby piece, but I mean, then again, it's enough to put our trailer to work a little bit. We'll be taking this up to Sheboygan, Wisconsin, which is right on the lake on the eastern side of Wisconsin, up just not too far north of Milwaukee. And then we've got another load in the works for Friday afternoon to pick up. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now here at the shipper because they had a crane issue. They had to crane one of the bigger pieces onto a 13 axle setup that's here waiting to go on his permits. But they had an issue with the crane, so they had to bring in another crane. So there's still 1.5 trucks ahead of us. We were supposed to load at 3 and hopefully be able to get out of here before our sunset curfew, but as it looks right now, that's not going to happen. So we'll get loaded, probably end up leaving the trailer locked here in the facility, go over to the hotel for the night, wake up in the morning, come over here, hook up to it, and at first light we'll boogie on out and start our journey. So I'm going to kind of show you guys a little bit of what goes into our decision-making process on which axles we're going to run, be it our front 3 down or our back 3 or all 4. And I'm also going to show you how we calculate where the piece should go on the trailer. I'm going to do it very briefly because I know that we all hated math in school, especially me. I never thought I'd have to use it, but here I am using algebraic equations to figure out where to put stuff on my trailer. So, lesson in life, kids, you will have to use math at some point, even if you're just a simple old trucker.
I just wanted to take a minute to show you guys this monstrous little setup they got here. This is a Kenworth T800W, stands for wide hood. This is a strictly heavy haul built truck. It's got 4-axle tractor. It's a 20,000 pound pusher. I believe that's actually steerable. Yes, this is a steerable pusher. And this is a full 13 axle setup. So when you hear us talking about axles and everything, this is a trailer and an axle combination that has the ability to put quite a bit of weight on him. Now, the problem with these setups is his empty weight. Without a load, he's I think he said he was 96,000 pounds empty. So he has to have a permit to go anywhere, even when he's empty. He has to be permitted. But this is a brand new trailer. The company just bought it. This is the first load that they're putting on it. And this is just a slightly bigger version of what our piece will look like. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at what a 13 axle setup is. So you've got 3 here on the Stinger, and then you've got 3 on the actual trailer itself, and then you've got 3 on what they call the Jeep, which actually turns, and then you've got 4 on the tractor. So 4, 7, and 13. Boom. This piece, the driver told me this piece weighs 117,000. So he said it's close, but not quite that heavy. He's shut down here for the night until he figures out how the hell to get out of this place, because it was not designed for big trucks. So he's got to get some more equipment so that he can finish securing this piece and get it ready to roll. And he's also going to be delivering up in Sheboygan to the same place that we're going. So these are all hydraulically operated. You know, he can drop this, he can raise and lower the deck, to an extent to clear off obstacles in the road, speed bumps or dips when you're coming in and out of parking lots or whatnot. These trailers, they're hefty pieces of machinery, but their price tag is equally as hefty, which is why the majority of the people that pull these things are company-owned trailers, because they're just far too expensive for the average driver to go out there and buy a setup like this. If you see this little space here in the neck, it's because this is a flip. Sorry about that. It's because this is a flip neck. So when this trailer is not actually loaded, the what they call the Jeep, these 3 axles right here, will get loaded onto the deck of the trailer, and that neck here will flip back, and then that portion actually attaches to the truck. And then the 3 axles and the furthest 3 axles back on what's called the stinger will also get disconnected and set on the trailer too. So he's not long when he's empty, but he's still heavy, because all of this is very heavy metal and it's meant to do some work. But pretty cool setup. Just wanted to give you guys a quick little walk around on it. Probably ended up being a little bit longer than intended, but so be it. See you. Hey guys, just a quick update here. We're still at the shipper. It's almost 6 o'clock. Almost 6 o'clock. We are not going to be able to get anywhere tonight because our permit hours are from sunrise to sunset, and it's already past our curfew time. So they're still wheeling the piece out of the shop to the door. They're gonna rig it out onto another trailer, hoist it in the air. That trailer will pull out, and then we'll back under it. They'll set it down. We're gonna secure it tonight, and then we're gonna leave. They're gonna lock it. We'll leave the trailer here. They lock it up and go get a hotel. There's one right down the road, and then we're going to come back first thing in the morning, drape our tarps over it, get all that done, and get the rest of our permits ordered and get on the road. So just a quick update. I'm sure I'll try and get a video. I'm not sure how dark it'll be by the time we are able to load, but yeah. So axle configurations. We can put 72,000 and get away with running the Tritum, which is 3 axles in either configuration, be it the front 3 or the back 3. Normally, if we were running that heavy, we'd just put the 4th axle down just to save stress on the trailer. But we could do 72,440 pounds on a normal overweight permit in a state. Most states will give you 20,000 pounds per axle on a Tritum, so they'll allow us 60,000 pounds on the rear. And they'll allow us 40,000 pounds on our drives and 12,000 pounds on our steers. That's most states. Now that's a pretty generalized statement, because there's a few states here and there that will either grant you way more or a lot less. So that's all something we know. We have the Bible, which I've spoken about before. It has a detailed list of every state and all of their permit abilities, as far as what they will grant you per axle, or on a Tritum or a quad, or just your solid tandem. Anyways, for this trip, we've decided to run the front Tritum. The weight's only 66,000 pounds, so 3 axles will be more than enough for it. We chose the front Tritum on this because of where we were picking up. We needed to be able to make turns a little bit tighter than the rear Tritum would have allowed us to. So lifting up that back axle and putting our front axle down will change where the trailer turns, so that getting around some of these small streets here in Albemarle will be easier. So that's just how we guess it, or how we decide which we're gonna run. Now how we figure out our weights. Now you'll see this blue tape. I'm not sure if you can see it. This is an old one, but we use blue tape to mark where the center of gravity is for our sweet spot. on the trailer. And the sweet spot, what it will do is, if you put it properly, the piece, if you put the center of gravity of the piece on the sweet spot of the trailer, it will perfectly distribute the weight between the axles that you have on the ground and the axles on the tractor. We use an algebraic equation for that pretty much goes the distance from your kingpin to the center of whatever you're running. If it's a tandem, you run it to the center of your tandem. If it's a quad, you run it to the center of the 4 axles. If it's a tridem, you run it to the center axle. So whatever your center point is where you measure from. You take that distance and then you plug that into an equation, and eventually you'll come up with your X value, which will be your distance. For this load, I think it's about 25, a little over 25 and a half feet. I have the actual number written down, but so we'll come out here, we'll measure out 25 feet, we'll throw some tape on the trailer, we'll throw a small piece of tape on the piece, and they will line the 2 pieces up, set it down. We'll check our axle gauges just for general purpose, and we'll be good to go. It's almost guaranteed that if the piece is the weight they say it is, then it'll work. You know, this piece is only 66,000 pounds. This formula is for the heaviest possible load that you could put on your setup. So being permitted at 60-40-20 is 120 or 112,000 pounds, minus our lightweight of 39,560 pounds. We can do 72,440 pounds on this setup. So if we were to pull a piece that was 72,440 pounds, it would have to go to the inch where this formula directs us. Now, because this piece is lighter, we can move it forward, or, you know, if we wanted to, or backwards a little bit if we wanted to, but we don't feel a need to. We'll just set it right on the center of gravity. It'll disperse the weight relatively evenly, and we'll be good to go. So I know I've talked to you guys about the gauges before, but I'll show you real quick. We have a little cheat sheet because everything is different. And by cheat sheet, I mean on the front of my notebook. So the quad reads 1,200 pounds per indicated, 1,200 pounds of weight on the trailer per indicated pound on the axle gauge. For the front tri, that rating is 1,012 pounds of weight per indicated pound. So for every pound we see here, there is 1,012 pounds being transferred to the tridem. So as long as we see less than 58 pounds, we know we're legal back here. And then we also have a gauge in the truck that does the same thing. And we know what that should read. So as long as all those are copacetic, we're good to go. So we're going to measure this out, mark it off, and wait for our turn with the crane. Update for you guys. It's the next morning. We got here at 8 this morning. It is 9:40 in the morning now. What you're seeing behind me is this piece being drug out of the building. So when they have to move these big pieces that are in factories, they take these big hydraulic jacks, they lift them up, they put heavy duty roller skates pretty much under the piece, and they set it on there, and then they use a forklift to drag it. So this piece was in the far corner of this factory. They drug it out to the door last night. It got too dark, became a safety concern for the crews that were rigging it and putting it on the crane. So now that it's light out and the next day, they're bringing it towards the door. They've gotten it most of the way out the door. They're dealing with the back end to drop it onto that trailer, which is where they'll put their tie down point or their lift points on the actual piece, and then they'll get all 4 chains hooked to the crane. Once that's all set, they'll lift it up. That guy who's acting as like an intermediary platform will just pull out, we'll back under, they'll set the piece on us, and we'll get to securing it, tarping it, and getting on the way. So you know, we seem to run into these issues a lot, but it's all part of the game. None of this stuff is meant to be moved like it is. And when you move something that's not meant to or designed to be moved, you're always going to run into a problem. So we're working with it, yeah, we'll give you an update when it's actually on the trailer and whatnot. Also, yesterday my update on where this was incorrect. This is not an abandoned factory or warehouse. What this is this used to be a manufacturing plant for pantyhose. So they used to do like stockings and pantyhose here for I don't know, decades. I guess they closed it down in '92, and this company bought it as a storage facility. So although it looks like a huge facility, all they use is this side of the building and this side of the building, and this company stores equipment here. So anytime a plant or an assembly plant gets taken offline that has equipment like these big steel presses in it, they move it from that plant to this site as a storage facility until it is ready to go back to their main facility in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, to be remanufactured or refurbished or scrapped eventually, or whatever they're going to do with it. And then from there it goes to their other plants. So these pieces are going to go up there, get refurbished, and sent to Mexico. So yep, that was just a more proper or correct update as to where this place was versus what I told you it was yesterday. So well, 3 o'clock on day 2, and we are finally ready to roll. Got this piece on, got it tarped, got it all secured down, and we just got our first permit in. We had to reorder permits because this piece is heavier than they told us it was, and it's also weighed differently than they said it was as well. So it was fun loading it. As I'm sure you saw, we had to pick it up and set it a couple times, and we actually, because of the weight, have to permit it on 4 axles now, because it was just too much for 3 axles. So we barely have any weight on, barely that much weight on the trailer for what it can pull, but we had to put the 4th axle down. So we've got, we had to use both tarps on this thing. It was 7 feet 6 inches tall, and that's with the cribbing that we had to put under it. It was 11 feet 10 inches wide and 23 feet long. So, and it weighed, our best guess right now is 72,000 pounds, maybe 73. We have to, there's a scale up the street, we'll go scale it, but I can tell that we're legal because of what our axle scales that I showed you earlier are showing. So anyways, we're gonna get on down the road here, get scaled, and then probably shut down for the night, because I doubt we'll be able to make it very far after we get off the scale. So we got 1,000 miles to go. We'll get this thing off Monday, and we'll be on to the next one. We got the fun lights are on, flags and banners are hung, and I guess that means it's time to go to work. Catch you guys on the flip side.